Hey everybody, Zach Ditmars here for Fish Talk Magazine. Thank you for tuning in to another installment of Live with Lenny. Tonight's program is in part by Yamaha Outboards and Yamaha Right Waters and CCA Maryland. So thank you for your support. Hop on over to fishtalkmag.com/Yamaha and you can find a whole slew of mid-Atlantic and service providers for Yamaha Outboards. This evening we're going to be talking about the current bite as well as upcoming sight fishing opportunities for you this summer. Before we get started, I bring Lenny on. I'm going to tell you guys about an interesting event coming up. So CCA Maryland will be hosting a DC fishing trip raffle that's going to be running for the next month or so. And we're going to announce the winner right here on Live with Lenny in July. I'm going to bring it up for you on screen. So it's a DC fishing trip with two seafood visionaries, author Hank Shaw and Andrew from the Ikejime Federation. And you'll be fishing with two professional charter captains, Captain Tim Blanchard, and the other one I cannot remember off. I'm really sorry about that. It should be right on this page here. Tickets are only $25, and if you buy 5, you get a 5 for 100. So basically buy 4, get 1 free. And they're only selling a few hundred tickets, so really good odds on that one. The day this is going to be held on Friday, July 18th. And, you know, if you win that trip, you might also be interested in having a book signing and dinner event down at a beautiful private mansion down on the, I believe, St. Mary's River, or that's probably not right. But anyway, somewhere beautiful and waterfront. And this is a dinner and book signing with Hank Shaw. And maybe Andrew will be there as well. So hop on over to CCAMD.org and check that out. Get your tickets. I think I'm going to grab a few because that sounds really fun. All right. Without further ado, I'd like to bring on the man you're all here to see, Mr. Lenny Rudo, the angler in chief.
What's happening, Zach?
What's happening? What's so funny?
I think that dinner is going to be at your house.
Oh no, it was on the picture. It's like a big mansion.
It's like somewhere.
It's in Southern Maryland. St.
Can
Mary's.
you fish? Can you fish while you dine?
Sure.
Okay.
Who's gonna stop you? I mean, you can fish for a little bit. If someone stops you, then you can't fish anymore. But you know the old saying: it's better to ask for forgiveness than it is to ask for permission.
I suppose that is a couple of interesting events coming up though, and $25 for a raffle ticket's pretty darn cheap. If anybody out there is thinking about this, I gotta tell you, the fishing in DC is kind of shocking too. It's like it's amazing. You can be literally in the shadow of the Lincoln Memorial, catching one fish after the next, after the next, after the next. It's kind of crazy.
Sikorsky said it is the Patuxent River near Prince Frederick.
Aha.
All right, I'm going to put the raffle link here in the comments for everybody.
Excellent.
All right, so we got a lot to get into tonight, right, Lenny?
We do. We're going to talk sight fishing, which is a really interesting topic for the Chesapeake because a lot of people are like, what are you talking about? You know, there are a few fisheries that everybody kind of knows about as a sight game, but there's really a lot more than many people imagine. My eyes were kind of open to it maybe, I want to say 10 years ago with a couple experiences, and then reopened in the last couple of years when honestly it's one of my boys, David, reeling with Rudo on Instagram. He's gotten some just amazing footage of these sight fishing experiences, and it kind of clicked in my brain. I was like, I had sort of forgotten about some of the stuff we can do that's so super cool. People think Chesapeake Bay, they think, oh, cloudy water, you can't see much. It's not always the case, certainly not the case everywhere. And there's really a lot of interesting stuff to talk about. Before we get into that, we are going to go through the hot bite, the current times. We're what are we, 2 weeks into rockfish season now, 3 weeks in? So there's a lot to talk about there. There's some other really interesting bites going on. But first, I think we have some winners to talk about, don't we?
Yeah, before we switch away from the blue cats, let's talk about the Great Chesapeake Invasive Count winners for the month of May. Now, if you guys aren't familiar with this is a program by CCA presented by Yamaha Right Waters. Any catch you make on the Chesapeake Bay or its tributaries of a blue cat, flathead cat, or northern snakehead, you just lay it on a ruler, snap a photo, upload to iAngler. Now, you can register for free at ccamd.org/count. I'll put that in the comments as well. And it's free to participate. It's like Like.
George Woodford, you got the angle. Dang. Wait, is that rod holders on the side of that?
Yeah, I got
That's like the one that you got.
like 6 snakeheads in that thing.
Nice.
Well, for me, it's like 2 because mine, the one I catch, are so big, right? I
Okay.
cannot catch a snakehead to save my. They're just driving me nuts. All right, who we got next?
George got a serious prize there, and Sonia does too. A toadfish cocktail tumbler kit.
That was the wrong clip, but that actually worked out. It was nice. It was cool.
Interesting toadfish cocktail tumbler kit music there, Zach.
Wrong button. All right, up next.
Michael gets an Under Armour T-shirt. That's a new prize. We haven't seen that.
Yeah, and I didn't get a visual, but I think you said might have a snake head or a catfish on it. I think just I think you'll get a choice, a selection there, and obviously sizes and whatnot. All right, so
Nice.
up next, Darren.
And Darren gets the toolkit, the CCA toolkit. That's a good prize.
Yeah, I actually just filleted a flounder with that knife, and it's a nice knife. That is a really nice knife.
It is. The knife is sweet. I like the pliers. I've got them on my boat now because I won. What was it, back in like February or March or something?
Yeah, because we were the only ones who fished in February, I guess.
It was in February, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a super cool toolkit. So, Darren, congrats.
No doubt. And
Troy gets a toadfish drive-by. Congratulations, Troy. I haven't seen that one. We got a lot of new prizes tonight.
Yeah.
So, and let's just remind everybody, it's free to enter. It's free. All you do is take a picture of your fish, send it in. You help participate in citizen science. The regulators, the scientists, they get to figure out where all these fish are coming from. And so you're doing a good thing. It's free to enter, and you win these cool prizes. I mean, come on, people. What could be better?
Yeah. Just sign up in the event you catch one, even if you're not targeting them, and all you need is a ruler. That is really all you need, is a phone and a ruler. And there are options in the app as well if you'd like to examine the stomach contents and identify what that fish has been eating. And again, that's just more science, more data for the fisheries management. So it's really just, this is how you can sort of contribute to,
Science.
regulatory measures here in the Bay.
Yeah. It's
All
great.
right.
It's a great program.
Okay, one last catfish thing before we jump off that is tonight we're going to be announcing a winner. We haven't drawn it yet, so you have time. You viewers out there right now can enter the Cat Slayer giveaway. We have 2 Okuma Cat Slayer rods. I've used these. Lenny's used these. They're excellent rods, super beefy. I really did a 40-pounder on one of those, and I was like, it's not that big, and it comes up, and it was 40 pounds, and I was like, oh man, this rod's beefy.
Don't sell yourself short, Zach. It was 42.
42 pounds. I think it's 42 inches. Well, it was a boga grip.
I remember seeing 42 pounds on that thing. That was a honking fish.
Yeah, it was.
And the Cat Slayer whooped it. It did the trick.
All right, so I'm going to put the link for you guys.
So what do you have to do, Zach, to enter to win?
You just go to Fish Talk Mag and just punch in your email address, and you're gonna.
So it's again free.
That's right.
Nice.
So we
gotta love the free prizes.
Totally. We wrap at 7 p.m. and that'll be the last final note on tonight's show. So stay tuned and hop on over and drop your name in the hat.
All right.
Hey, Tim. Tim was the winner of the first round. He was like, man, these rods are sweet.
Nice.
I don't think he's had a chance to fish with me yet, but I know he's going to send us some pics when he does. So I know you are, Tim. Hey, Simon, what's happening? He said he caught some rays at Sandy Point yesterday evening. Lenny loves Cowno's rays. They are his new favorite target species here at the Chesapeake.
Oh.
How many rays have you caught this year? How many skates and rays combined have you? But you can't count that high, can you?
No. Skates. If you throw in the skates from Chesapeake when we were drum fishing, off the charts. But even so, the rays have been off the charts. And actually, when we talk about the bite going on right now, we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But the bottom line is the rays are very thick, No, I don't like them. I'm really sick of them already. Really sick of them.
I'm with you.
All right, we ready to get to the hot bites of the day?
We are. I'm gonna disappear.
All right, you can go ahead and throw up slide one. And people, I want to mention, don't forget, throw your questions into the comments there. Zach will field them. He'll put them up on the screen. We'll get them answered. We do this so that we can talk with you and you can ask the questions. So please pop them on in there as we're talking, anything that comes up. So here's Dylan Wooders, our reports editor. If you haven't checked out his YouTube channel, check it out. Wooders Edge TV. Very cool, great stuff. And he just put out a video from some fishing we did about a month ago that we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on with that bite in a little while. But this is obviously a rockfish. Obviously, rock is in now. It's what everybody's talking about. It's what everybody's going for. A lot of people are going for. I'll tell you honestly, it's been kind of tough. It's been kind of tough. And the biggest tough part of it really has not been a lack of fish. It's been a lack of acceptable weather. We've had some really windy days. We've had some rainy days. And it seems like what's happened is the fish have sort of been transitioning back and forth between early spring mode and summer mode. They're bouncing around because we've had some nights where it's been really cold and then days where it's been really warm. And I know that my own personal experience matches up completely with the reports we've been getting, which range from I had a great day to the very next day I couldn't catch a fish to save my life. That's how it's been going. It's been super hot, super cold. Just saying, Dylan will be the Anglers Night Out guest speaker Thursday, June 12th at the West End Grill. Thank you for reminding us of that, Jesse. Yes, Dylan will be speaking then. And let me tell you something, for a young guy, he really knows what he's doing. He really, really does. And if you come to the West End and check it out, I am sure he has something really interesting to say. I'm gonna be there.
I believe the topic is white perch.
Zach, are you gonna be there?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
I
definitely.
want to go. I'm sure it's gonna be a good one.
The food there is great. It's a fun time. Everyone should come. Open to the public. Holds about 30, 40 people. So plenty of room.
Pack it up. Right. So this picture was a few days ago. That was about a week ago, I guess.
2 weeks ago. Is that James?
I think so. What's left of it, right? And Tom's saying he recently found his videos and really enjoyed them. They're really good. This is really good stuff. Anyway, the shallow water rockfish bite, again, it's on, it's off. It's really tough to figure out right now. I think it'll settle in as soon as this weather settles in. But we should mention, the Bay Bridge has been consistently holding fish. A lot of fish have been caught there since the season opened. Sometimes they're not biting, right? It's the weather thing, but they're there. The Patapsco has been holding a lot of fish. Love Point has been holding good numbers of fish. The Chop Tank's been holding good numbers of fish. Haven't heard a whole bunch from Poplar, kind of surprisingly. I've heard a few people gotten over there and caught a few, but haven't heard a ton.
I heard the topwater bite actually a couple days ago was pretty good.
Oh, good. Okay.
Early and late. Actually,
early and late.
Two different reports.
That's often the case there. You got to be there first thing or be there last thing. Thomas Point has been holding some fish. There it's been weather and also boats. Every time I've gone by there've been a lot of boats, except for one time when I could see fish on the side scan. I could look at them up against those rocks and they just would not bite a thing. So again, it's been hot and cold. Don't get discouraged, people. If you go out and you have a tough time catching fish, do not be discouraged. There's every chance in the world you're in the right place. It just, the timing, it's been tough. All right, go ahead and take us to the next slide, if you would, please, Zach. Oh, I forgot to mention one thing. Point Lookout also has been holding good numbers of the rockfish. I'm sorry. So snakeheads. So it's really interesting. About 2 weeks ago, we started to hear from guys on the shore that the snakeheads were starting to pair up, and it was getting really tough to catch them. Guys on the west side weren't really saying that. Now I've heard from a few people that they're spotting fish but having a really hard time getting them to bite on the west side. but there are still some really nice fish being caught up north. And again, I think this weather probably, maybe they started to pair up, and then the sudden cool nights we had just kind of, then all that rain just kind of knocked everything out of kilter, held the fish back a little bit of a pause. New record snake was checked in today. Carl, that's interesting. How big? Herb's Bait and Tackle in Cecil County. You're stealing my thunder. I was about to mention that the spots farther north have still been happening. So a 23 pounder, man, that's something else. That's interesting.
Damien's going to be bummed.
Yeah, that'll be news. That'll be some news, especially coming from up there. But like I say, the northern bite has been the better bite. My guess is in the next week or two, it's going to slow down up there too. But again, it's also weather dependent. Kind of hard to say. But if you get a shot, go out and get them. Zach, I know you were mentioning you saw one that you cast to it. How many times?
417. And then my buddy caught it the next day. It's just hanging in one spot under a little grass mat. And I threw a frog at it, and it sort of just inspected it for about a minute. And I pulled my phone out and took a photo of it. Went back the next day with a minnow on a Tin Man floating jig. Figured I'd drag that across the weed mat. It came up and sort of sniffed it, and then it went back. And then the next day, he caught it on a frog. So, they're definitely finicky fish.
Yeah. Well, and and again, the way the weather has been, it's just been up and down, warm and cold, raining. It's just everything's a little schizoid right now. But that is a good option for the timing if you're going to be up north. All right, take us to the next slide if you would. And so this has been really cool, people. I've personally been super excited about this. If you read the Fish Talk fishing reports, you've heard me mention a couple times that there are black drum in the Middle Bay this year. I haven't seen them in years and years and years. The Stone Rock run just petered out. It must have been 15 years ago. Used to be one of the most reliable runs there was. Dave's saying he's pretty sure the 23-pound fish was, what does that say?
He thinks it was a bowfish.
Oh.
It's Damien's record.
Yeah, shot. Well, that's interesting. Huh. So maybe Damien's safe. Tube worm on the snakehead last Sunday. Okay, cool. So anyway, the drum thing I've been super duper excited about. We pulled 13 aboard my boat so far this year. So far. All in the Middle Bay. All in the Middle Bay. And you can see there's Zach and Dylan with one of them. They've ranged everywhere from like 15 pounds to maybe 60 and change. And crab has been the bait. Hard crab, they're perfectly happy to eat. Doesn't have to be soft crab, but it's got to be fresh, fresh crab. Big bait, circle hook, 10-aught, 50, 60-pound leader. You need something heavy, and then a fish finder rig. And just let them munch and munch and munch. They seem to mess with it quite a bit before they swim off. Let them munch, and then when they swim off, slowly tighten up. Now, most of what we've caught has been at the power plant. And they were in there thick, and then what happened is the rays moved in. The last 2 times I've gone after these fish, and that's why Zach was making fun of me, I have caught somewhere around 300 to 500 cow nose rays. I mean, they really have packed in there thick. And you can drive around, you can see the rays on your side scan, and you can see the fish. The fish are there. Just not much you can do about it. You put a bait down, the moment it hits bottom, you got a ray on. So the last time I tried it was 3 days ago, and we fought like, I don't know, 8 rays, and then said, forget it, we're going to go do something else. So I wouldn't necessarily suggest doing that right at the moment. But I did go by the Stone Rock the other day. I didn't have any crab on board. I didn't plan on drum fishing. But I thought, I'm going to slow down and just look. And I saw some marks. And if you go there tomorrow, you may well see my boat because I'm fishing tomorrow and I've got some crab. So super cool. They're back in town. Other places you can go for them. The airplane wreck, and the Cook Point Reef Ball site. I've caught them there in past years. Carl's asking if they hang out most of the summer. They do, but what happens is these tight schools that move up the bay scatter, and it gets really hard to really target them, almost impossible. People look into them. You'll hear about someone catching one in Eastern Bay, and somebody caught one. Shucks, you'll hear about them all the way up at Low Point, at the bridge. You'll hear about one, caught in the chop tank. I mean, they just scatter out, and people get onesies, twosies here and there, but they aren't really concentrated enough. It's the first week of June. We should have at least another 2 weeks where they'll still be schooled up. Historically, when they used to come into the Stone Rock, you basically had from the middle of May to the middle of June. And by the end of June, you could pretty much bet that run was going to be done. So, at some point they'll bust up. John saying May 21 at Stone Rock was a date I tried it for a number of years, but not in the last few. John, for the last, my gosh, I don't know how many years, ever since that run petered out, I try and make sure that I get by there and look at least once a year just to see if they've come back. And I haven't seen them. The other day was the first time I've seen them, or I think I saw them. It's the first time I've seen marks that lead me to believe that there are black drum there. And it's probably been 15 years. It's been a long time. But I did want to mention that Cook Point Reef 2 years ago, I did catch drum there. I caught one and I saw a boat catch two. It was very short-lived. They didn't stick around, but they were there at the Cook Point Reef site.
Speaking of Cook Point, CCA will be doing a deployment there on the 10th and 11th of reef balls.
That's right. I forgot. Thank you for mentioning that. I believe that Dave is going to join me on my boat, and we're going to run out there. Pretty sure that's how it's working. That's an incredible reef site. The structure is just amazing. It really is. And that's exactly the kind of stuff that the drum like. They like munching on mussels and crabs and all that, wherever you got that structure with all that growth on it, that's where they're going to be. I have not tried it, but the edge off James Island historically held them. If I was down there and I had crab on the boat, I'd be looking there too. But we should get at least a couple more weeks to shoot at these fish. And I might try the power plant too, because the rays move in, they move out. This stuff is always changing, right? Just like the fish. The fish move in, the fish move out. Hopefully they'll get out of there. Zach, you were there on a ray day, right? Yeah. And it was pretty. I mean, it was like I don't think we ever put down more than 2 rods, did we?
It was 2 days after we caught a bunch of drum there. I think we got 6 drum, and 2 days later we caught 60 ray.
Yeah. And as I recall, the ray day, I don't think we ever managed to get more than 2 lines out. It was like you put one out, you put the other out. Oh, that one's got a ray on it. You reel the ray up. Oh, no, that one's got a ray on it. It was just nonstop. So hopefully that'll change. But it's a great option. All right.
Carl has a question. Live bottom east side across from the gas stocks.
Carl, that is a fantastic area. That area brings in a lot of fish. I have never fished for drum there. I would almost bet money that if the drum are in the area, that's got to be a place they go, because that is a beautiful patch of live bottom. They got to go there. Like I can't swear to it. Never done it. Never caught them there, but I've never tried. Stone Rock is a lot closer to home for me, so that's kind of I'd always go there. But man, that's a really good call. Now you got me angry that I didn't think of that earlier and try that when the rays were so thick. That's a really good call, Carl. Yeah, that'd be a great spot for it. All right, Zach, why don't you go ahead and take us on to the next bite? Specs. If we were in a room right now, I'd say everybody raise your hand if you've caught a speck yet this year. And I'll bet that most folks would not. There'd be a few. But the speck, this May should be an awesome month for them, and it just really wasn't. I heard 2 reports of folks who caught 5 and a couple onesies, twosies. And that was really about it. Until, even in the Tangier, the numbers were relatively low. More coming from down there, but still relatively low. this is obviously our contributor, Eric Packard. He fishes on a daily basis. And I don't know if he's on tonight. If you are, will you chime in and let us know how many specs you've seen so far? But it's not a lot. You know, he's gotten a couple here and a couple there. They just have not been north of, you know, even Virginia waters. Yeah. Carl, you're stealing my thunder. Yeah, we had that cold winter, and then we had a relatively cold spring. And they really have not moved up the bay like they normally would. Now down in Virginia Beach, Rudy, those areas, Lynn Haven, they're having a pretty decent spec bite. They are. So the fish just haven't moved north a whole heck of a lot. We've heard of a few in the Rap. We've heard of a few in the Pianca Tank, but not, you know, not what you would hope for. There was a kill this winter. There was some die off. From all reports, it wasn't massive, but it wasn't great. David saying, yes, we will live stream around. I can't see that.
9 a.m. on 6/11 from the Clint Waters Reef.
Beautiful. We're going to live stream at 9 a.m. Oh my God, what time do I have to get up? Oh, there's Eric. Thank you, Eric. A few here and there on the west side. Yeah. That's kind of, you know, once you get north of like really like the Mob Jack zone, that's what we've been hearing. It's just a few here, a few there. Not great numbers. So hopefully that'll change. If you do want to go for them, it has been a shallow water thing. You can see Eric's throwing the, you know, the 4 or 5 inch soft plastic there and getting them. He's saying St. Jerome's, PLO, St. Mary's. Yeah. But you know, the reports have really been the same all the way down until you get down really to the mouth of the bay. It just seems like that, you know, it wasn't the spring for specs. Hopefully we'll get them in better numbers. But Zach, bring me on to the next slide, will you? And this will dovetail into our conversation for the evening. Redfish. Now, we haven't seen them north yet, but going up through the Tangier Sound, there was a really good spring bull bite. I didn't get it on it. This is my son, one of my sons, David, reeling with Rudo. And this fish was this spring. He's caught them all the way from Cape Charles clear up to the northernmost points of the Tangier Sound. Gotten them all through there. And talking to him about some of the bites he's been getting in on was one of the things that made me think, you know, we ought to talk about sight fishing on Live with Lenny, because he's been sight fishing these fish. And it reminded me that, you know, we've got these opportunities right here at home that we don't necessarily always think about. Now, in the Tangier, in the northern rivers, he's been fishing grass flats. Go ahead and take us to the next slide, Zach, if you would. So there are a couple things about the grasses. The first is, you know, critters hide in them and fish like to eat critters, right? We all kind of know that. The other thing is they do sort of calm the water that's right around them. And as a result, you get better clarity. And what do you need good clarity for? Sight fishing. So just as a for example, he's kayak fishing quite a bit. On his kayak, sitting down, he's been spotting fish over grass flats and has mentioned many times that he's had to hunt for the clean water, but when he finds it, it's always been around a grass flat. And you got to have the clear water for this stuff. You just got to have it. Now, Zach, you and me and Dylan and Eric, we all went down to the Tangier. We fished it, 2 whole days. We ran all over the place looking for clean water. We had horrific winds, big storms, really made it super duper tough. And we did not have a heck of a lot of luck with this, which brings me to one of the things that you just have to keep in mind about sight fishing. And that's just, you can't fight Mother Nature, right? If the water's all churned up, if it's blowing really hard, if the conditions aren't right, if it's super cloudy and you can't see anything, it's not going to happen. You can't fight Mother Nature. You just can't do it. And that's not just true of sight, it's true of all fishing. When it's blowing real hard, don't try and drift fish, right? You know, When the water's churned up over here, go over there. Like you can't force it. You just can't force Mother Nature. But if you want to sight fish for these big reds, bottom line, what you got to do is locate some grass flats, Tangier Sound down on the east side, on the west side, Mobjack's got it. And right off the cuff, a lot of people are like, well, how in the world am I going to find these grass flats? Very simple. Go to Google Earth. Simple as that. You can see the dark zones in a lot of those photos. Don't forget to change it. You hit the historical so you can look at past year's pictures, because some years, the picture is taken when the light's not right or the water's cloudy or whatever. You can't see the grasses. But if you click back a couple of years, you can see where they sort of regularly form. So make yourself a game plan. Pick out a few grass flats that are in close proximity to each other and go for it. Zach, can we go backwards on the slides real quick? Because I forgot one thing.
Yeah, which one?
To Dave. Back to Dave and his redfish. Can you make that really big, please? I want folks to be able to see what's hanging out of this fish's mouth. Because, the next natural question is, well, what do I use for these fish? So that is a mullitron. It's basically a paddle tail. It's the kind that has the head and the hook all in one. It's not a hook not a head you slide a tail onto.
The juice pocket you can squirt Procure in the tail.
Well, there's no doubt in my mind that you do that because you put Procure on everything.
I put it on my dinner.
Oh my God, I've seen you put it on everything. But these fish, they'll pounce on the big paddle tails. You want something big enough, obviously, nothing under 4 inches for a bull. But they'll pounce on these paddle tails. They'll also pounce on topwater. And you want to keep that in mind if you're on one of those grass. Some of these grass beds, at times, the grasses come all the way up to the surface, and fishing a paddle tail is like impossible. Go to topwater. These fish are not shy about slamming topwater. And the tough part, really, honestly, is not getting them to bite most of the time. Most of the time, the tough part is just finding them. So, any lures like that, your big paddle tails, if you're going to put out the big paddle tail on a jig head, use a really light jig head so you can keep it up high without having to blaze it at a mile a minute. All that kind of stuff will work. Now, what about the slot reds? Have not heard a whole bunch about them yet. I have not seen one yet this year. They're again, Lynn Haven, Rudy, Virginia Beach. They're getting them down there, but they really have not pushed north in a big way. Same as the specs. East side, up into the Tangier, we've heard about a few, but honestly, not a lot. Really, just a handful. Down at the mouth of the bay, better. So hopefully those fish will decide to come on up here. If we don't get another run of slot reds like we did last year in the Middle Bay, I, for one, will be very upset. Very upset.
Can we rewind again?
Sure. What you got? You mentioned the airplane wreck for Black Drum. Is that the seaplane wreck near Cook's Point? Yes, exactly. Yep. I understand it's not what it used to be. There's, it's degraded a lot. And honestly, I go to the Cook Point Reef Ball site. It's right close by. But yeah, airplane wreck, seaplane wreck.
and it's on Navionics. It's on the charts. So
it is. Yeah, it's charted. Absolutely.
All right.
You can just bebop us right on over to the cobia.
Well, another question.
Okay, well, hold off on the cobia.
The
kayaking and oh shucks, I need my glasses.
I can read it.
Cockerel Creek in Reedville. Ooh. Well, Reedville, you're far enough down. You should be able to find some specks. You may be able to find some puppy drum. My best guess is you'll find rockfish. You probably find as much of that, as rock as anything else. But you definitely, that far down, you should be able to find some. But again, it hasn't been a fantastic year, really north of Mobjack for the specks or the reds. But there are some around, and every day it really should be getting better and better. Next weekend, we've got a nice, we're entering a nice stretch of sunny weather here, right? It finally hasn't rained like crazy. The last few nights haven't been super cold. The next few nights won't be super cold. I would work the shallows, and I'd try throwing, paddle tail on a light jig. Any signs of bluefish around? Yeah, there have been. It's interesting. They're on the move. We encountered them. Zach, do you remember how many we got?
Oh, quite a few. I think I took 4 home. I think we caught like 6.
And they were nice fish.
Oh,
They were,
I was shocked when they were big fillets. I was like, oh man, this is a good haul.
yeah, they were good fish. And we saw a guy catch one bigger. We saw a guy catch a really big one.
Like a 36, wasn't it?
I think he said 32.
Okay, it was 30.
But it was a really nice fish. And those fish, as far as I can tell, are constantly moving. I was told there was a good bite over near the chop tank a few days ago, and I went back there, Zach, and did not catch them. I think they are around, but they're constantly bouncing around. They seem to be moving fast. CL saying had a great day topping Woodard's subsurface blues. Interesting. Okay. And CL, he's on the sound, so he's pretty far down there. So hopefully, I'm sure those bluefish will keep moving around and bouncing around. CL, since we got you here, can I just ask you, are you seeing the puppies down there yet? Because I really haven't heard a whole lot of slot reds, even from the Tangier. I wonder if I'm just not hearing. Are you catching them, or is it just not as good as we hope it should be?
I think.
What's that?
Oh, Tom Weaver caught a decent amount of blues, I think, north of Poplar. So
yeah, and they started early, like in April. They started showing up late April, but they've been quickly moving around. There's no one spot they've been like staying at, but they are around.
All right. Well, let's see if CL chimes in. I got another off-topic question about the crab report.
Oh God. Tim, are you trying to depress me? Is that your goal? Yeah, that was not a good dredge report, man. The crabs are hurting. And is it the blue cats munching them all? I'm sure that has an effect. I can't, we just don't know how big that effect is compared to, say, that cold winter, which, cold winters tend to be harder on the crabs. Of course, we had a cold winter, but like speaking in the broad historical perspective, 20, 30 years ago, nobody would have called that a cold winter, right? So should it have that big an effect on the crabs? I don't know. I just don't know. Honestly, I'm not a scientist. As far as solutions go, my best guess is the DNR will cut limits on the commercial crab fishery when they absolutely positively have to, and not 1 second before. That generally tends to be how they operate on that count. It seems to me. So I don't see anything happening this year, because the survey did show a number that was above the floor, that they need to hit for the number of, I think it's 75 million females. I might be off on that. When they hit that floor, false reports get prices up. Count me. I don't know. But I don't see anything changing this year. We'll see what next year's report looks like. All right, you want to take us to the Kobe slide? I hope CL chimes back in, because I'm bummed by how few slot drum I've been hearing about so far. All right, cobia. So, oh man, did we cropped out the top of the boat in this?
That's in another slide.
It's in another slide?
Yeah.
No, I wanted the top of the boat in this one. It's okay. So these fish, if you can see the whole picture, there's an upper station on that boat. That boat has a T-top with an upper station. So obviously people like to sight fish for cobia. Down in Virginia, totally the thing, right? In Maryland waters, once you get up to Point Lookout, it gets tough. It is not at all impossible. And last year, I spotted 3 cobia in 1 day. Oh, thank you, Zach. There's the full view. You can see this boat has the upper station. Last year off Poplar, in 1 day, I spotted 3 cobia. Now, having this upper station is key. elevation, because these fish, you want to be able to see them from as far away as possible, obviously. The elevation is a mind-blowing difference. You can have one guy with bad eyes up top and three of them with good eyes standing at deck level, and the one up top is almost always going to spot the fish first. It is really super duper important to get that elevation to see these fish. Again, saw them all the way up at Poplar. There's nowhere you can't sight fish for them. I have successfully sight fished them out of Point Lookout, and went north actually and found them. Now, what I will say is, again, you can't fight Mother Nature. You can't do it on a really cloudy day when it's windy and the water's churned up. It just won't work. Okay, so when I go cobia fishing in Maryland waters or Northern Virginia, what I'm generally doing is I'll have eels, I'll have chum, and I'll have sight fishing stuff. And if the conditions are perfect for sight fishing, I'll sight fish. If they're okay but not great, I'll probably chum through the turn of the tide, that really good time, hour and a half, 2 hours, and then sight fish the rest of the time. If it's really lousy conditions for sight fishing, I just won't even try it. You really need to play it by Mother Nature's rules. Down in Virginia, mouth of the bay, CBBT, visibility is significantly better. And you can really, that equation tilts a lot farther over towards sight fishing. But still, there are days when you got lousy light, a lot of wind. Don't fight it. Don't fight it, because you can't win. Just, you really want to play your cards right and try this when it's right. Now, again, elevation is key for this. I really feel like you need the upper station. And a lot of folks right there, right now, are thinking, well, I got a boat, but I don't have an upper station. What am I going to do? Historically, what we used to do is, my old boat didn't have one at first. I actually replaced the top and got one. Didn't have one at first. We used to stack 2 coolers on the foredeck and strap them down and stand on the coolers. And then after a while, someone got the bright idea to take like a 6-foot ladder and strap it to the front of the T-top and get up on the ladder. Now, will this stuff work? Yeah, it'll work. Is it a little scary? Yeah, it's a little scary. I say try it at your own risk. It is not hazard-free. It is imperfect. And it's also still tougher to find fish, because even though you're elevated, you're like trying to hold on now. You're trying to figure out how to not fall off of the ladder or fall off of the coolers. And so, it's a lot tougher. So what are you going to do? Well, I saw this at Point Lookout. I think it was 3 or 4 years ago. Go ahead and take me to it, Zach. Go ahead and put it up there, man. Make it big. This blew my mind. What a great idea. This guy had taken a deer stand and strapped it to the console, to the T-top. That's a deer stand, a tree stand. You got the ladder. You got rails you can hold on to. What a fantastic idea. So again, do it at your own risk. I'm not saying go out there and do it. What I'm saying is, if you got a boat with a T-top that does not have an upper station and you got no way to get elevation, this is a really creative option. Very, very interesting. All right. How we do? We're doing pretty good on time. Okay. So what are you going to do when you spot these fish? Most folks know, so I'm going to keep this brief. You want to throw bucktail with a tail behind it, big paddle tail, live eel. Those are your prime baits. Really interesting. Last year, guys were doing great with jerk baits. Go ahead and make me big again, Zach, will you? Nice big jerk bait like this guy. You got the rattle inside. I don't know if you can tell how big he is on the screen, but pretty darn big jerk bait. This one's a Yozuri. There are lots of them, lots of good ones. I will say this. If this is going to be thrown at a redfish, I would say shame on you for having that treble hook on there. I would never throw this at a redfish as it stands, because any bull red, it's too big to keep. Why in the world are you putting a treble hook in its mouth, right? Cobia, if I can put a hook into a keeper cobia, he's going in my fish box. So I'm going to throw him for cobia. Another one that I really like This one's a little small for that, but this is a nomad. They call it a mad scad. That right there is a killer jerkbait. These things have a great action moving through the water. I don't know if you can see on the camera. They have a little caudal fin. Is that visible? There, you can see it right there. See little fins on there? And man, this thing has a great zig and zag. It really does. Fantastic bait. And they come with the singles. They don't even put trebles on them. So great stuff. All right, Zach, go ahead and take us to the next one if you would. Oh, wait a minute. We got another question. Shameless plug. We'll be hosting our 5th annual Perchapalooza on July 19th. Live music provided by Migs. Cookout and prizes for both children and adults. Come see us. Okay. Hey, man. Hey, Amped Up. We're cool with shameless plugs. Especially because folks out there, they might want to know about it. They might want to come and Perchapalooza, right?
He just caught a big snakehead from his neighborhood dock there.
Nice.
I have my assistant with me tonight.
We can't see you, Zach. Oh, there he is. This is the okay. Now everybody look closely at this frame. This is the cat with a head.
What? It's almost as big as mine. Lenny, you're blipping. Your internet okay?
Oh, you just scrambled.
Yeah, I think the internet's. Anyway, I'll get back.
Internet's broken. That's unusual. Usually we don't have too many issues with that. All right, go ahead and put up the next slide if you would. This one shocks a lot of people. Rockfish. Why'd I put a rockfish up here? You can't sight fish for rockfish. Yes, you can. You absolutely can. Here's what you need. You need a quiet, still creek that has patchy grass and like 2 to 3 feet of water. That's it. You don't need structure other than the patchy grass. And you'll see little pods, onesies, twosies, threesies of rockfish just kind of meandering through. And it was on Harris Creek that opened my eyes to this. Now, Harris Creek, for those of you who don't know, is a massive oyster restoration project. I don't know how many bajillion oysters they've got growing in that creek right now. And let me tell you, it has an effect. In 2-3 feet of water, you can stand up on the bow of the boat and you can see the bottom it's like being on the Florida Flats. You can see all around you. And what you'll see in the late afternoon to dusk, and I'm sure in the early morning too, I haven't done it, so I can't swear to it because I'm not an early riser. I like the evening bite. But I know in the evening you'll see them. You'll see these little pods of rockfish just meandering around through the patchy weeds. Super beautiful, super cool. Very few people go after this because nobody even really realizes that you can actually spot that rockfish 40, 50 feet out in front of the boat and toss out in front of it and catch it. And it's a thrill. Again, nature's got to be on your side. Don't try this when the wind is blowing. Even 10 miles an hour is a lot of wind for this. You need a really still, calm night. But when you get that, man, it's a thrill. It's just a thrill to see the rock, place it, catch it. When you got the late in the day action, you can do topwater for this, which is a double thrill, right? Because then you watch the topwater blow up. You can also use the 4-inch weight paddle tails that I'm always talking about that I love so much. With like a half an ounce is really too much. You want something smaller than a half an ounce because you don't have a lot of water to sink in. And you don't want to, you can keep a half an ounce off the bottom in 2-3 feet of water, but then you're, cranking it really, really fast. So something a little lighter is going to be a better bet for that. But man, what a thrill to sight cast to a rockfish. Just unbelievable. All right. Take us to our next one, Zach. We got one more sight fishing opportunity to talk about. How we doing? We are good on time. Okay, excellent. Snakeheads. So we talked about the bite that's going on right now earlier. But the cool thing about the snakes is you can sight fish for them multiple times throughout the year. The April push is done, right? That's when this fish was caught. This fish, we came up into this creek, and we saw one after the next, after the next, after the next. It was super cool. They were all right at the surface, sunning themselves, warming up. It was still, the water was cold. It was early April. Water was quite chilly. They were warming up in the sun. And what we found effective, this is kind of neat. The fish would not eat anything. Like I drifted minnow past their nose, they wouldn't touch it. Tried pulling spinner baits by them, chatterbaits, you name it. They would not touch it. They just weren't interested in eating. They were just warming up. But if you took a 4-inch fluke and literally bombed it right on top of the fish, I mean, landed it on his head, one of two things would happen. Either the fish would dart off and be gone, or it would just boom, smash it. And it was a total flight or fight response. 50-50, 50-50 results. We probably spotted a dozen of these guys, and we probably had, 6 blast on it, and 6 of them that just disappeared. That's a super cool spring thing. Like I say, that's pretty much already done, right? That's history at this point. But these fish are pairing up now. They're mating. Pretty soon we're going to have what? What are we going to have out there, Zach? What are we going to have?
Fry balls.
Fry balls. And fry balls you can spot. And usually you can spot the adults guarding the fry balls. So this is going to be a thing very shortly, probably. I mean, it does seem like, that early pairing has been delayed. So we might have, I don't know, certainly probably 2-3 weeks. Zach, when was the first time what's the earliest you've seen a fry ball?
Yeah, now should be the time, They should start appearing now. I don't recall. I should keep better logs.
All right. I considering how it's been, my guess is we're going to have a few weeks to wait before you're really going to start. I might be wrong. Maybe someone's going to email me tomorrow and say, "Oh, I saw one," just because. But I think we're going to see a lot more in a few weeks. Put it that way.
Some say they spawn multiple times throughout the year. So
absolutely. I believe that's been confirmed at this point. Yeah. And once it gets warm and you start seeing them, you're going to see them right through, certainly through August. When you start seeing them, and when you see that adult guarding it, even if you see the adult guarding it, you really don't want to necessarily cast at the adult. You want to cast at the ball. You want to drag your lure right on through it. A lot of guys swear that a chatterbait is the best thing for that. A lot of guys swear that you put the frog right on top of the fry ball and start popping it. Critical thing to remember, don't give up after 3 casts. A lot of times you really got to kind of tick the fish off. You got to make that snakehead aggravated and angry. So it might take 20-30 casts. It might take a while. You might be sitting there looking at a fry ball and looking at an adult guarding it for a half an hour, throwing at that thing before you get it to attack. But stick with it, because that fish is almost certainly at some point going to get angry. Stafford is asking, do the snakeheads that live in the back creeks spawn later? I don't know. Zach,
I don't know either.
No, I was going to say, the snakeheads better than I do.
I think the definitely different timelines in different regions. It's not like rockfish where it's kind of consistent.
Yeah, with that whole pairing up thing, like you could see it. You first started to hear about it on the southern eastern shore, and then it became most of the eastern shore, and then you started to hear west side. Like it just slowly worked its way north, south to north. But that in the creeks, I don't know. Sorry, got me on that one.
They're in Bat Creek, Annapolis. They're paired up right now. They are really their populations are just they're everywhere. They're just everywhere.
They are. We've gotten word of them in like all the different rivers of this.
They are all finicky.
Yeah, they are.
0 for 4 in the last 2 weeks, and I've seen them every single time. So you're not alone.
But again, when you're doing this sight fishing thing, it's going to be a matter of aggravating them. So, seen them paired up last month in the Magathie. Fry balls are coming very soon on the western shore. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. As soon as they pop up, sight fishing for them again will be a thing. It really will. When they're paired up, a lot of times you can see them, but you're not going to get them to bite. Doesn't matter how many times you cast at them. However, they are an invasive species, so it is not against the law to cast over top of them, allow your jig to sink, and then snagify them if you see them paired up, which I'm sure I've never done. No, it's perfectly legal. They're invasive species. They want you to catch them. Perfectly legal. All right. So we are through our different sight fishing bites, but I wanted to just give you a taste. I talked about the sight fishing for the bull reds and some of the videos Dave, i.e. Reelin' with Rudo, has been shooting. I wanted to give you people a taste of it. Zach, do we have this video queued up?
Yes, sir.
And this is all Chesapeake Waters people. Awesome stuff.
All right.
Go ahead and roll it. So this is drone footage. These are all bull red. This is a school of bull redfish at the mouth of the bay. Within the last, I'm not sure the last month, certainly within the last 6 weeks. That's David on his kayak, casting to him and catching these things. And, oh, there they go. You can see him popping his lure. And really interesting, here you see the whole school spook away from the hooked fish, right? But they don't go far. And he just paddles right back up and gets right back into them. And the most critical thing that I wanted to bring out with this is, we use all kinds of tech, and sometimes we feel like we're cheating, and my gosh, the side scan feels like we're cheating. Using a drone certainly makes you feel like you're cheating, but guess what? It's very, very effective. And there was a day last year where Dave was on the boat, and he said, let me put up the drone. And honestly, what's going through my head is, oh my God, what a hassle. I got to sit here. I want to go fishing. He's going to put up the drone. He puts up the drone. He flies it around for 5 minutes, and he goes, all right, see the drone over there? And I go, yeah, I see it. He goes, go drive to it. It's over top of 5 redfish. And I'm like, what? What? People, it works. We drove over there, and he's like, all right, just cast right under the drone. Sight fishing, nothing beats an eye in the sky. So there's a whole nother learning curve there. It's a whole nother piece of tech to deal with. It's a whole nother tool in the toolbox. And not everybody is going to deal with it. Not everybody wants to deal with it. If you've been wondering, will it help me find fish? Yeah, it will. Again, Mother Nature wins. You're not going to do it on a super windy day. If the water's real mucked up, it's not going to be the move. But will it help? Yeah, it absolutely will. Now, we'll field final questions in just a minute. But Zach, I wanted to put up the slide with kind of the general sight fishing rules on not fighting Mother Nature, because I'm huge on this. For conditions, you got to have the water clarity, you got to have the right sunlight, and you can't have a ton of wind. And if any of those things are out of kilter, just don't even try it. God bless you. Go have fun, but don't expect you're going to be super successful. It's time to try other forms of fishing. Timing, again, critical, like we were talking about with the snakeheads. Early spring, summertime fry balls. Those are your windows of opportunity. When you're outside of those windows, it's not going to be banner fishing if you try it. Stealth, critical. Another really interesting thing Dave told me about these redfish he's been catching. He's on a kayak. He has not been paddling the kayak around looking for fish. He's been positioning the kayak at the upwind side of the weed bed and then allowing himself to drift. So you want to talk about stealth. It doesn't get more stealth than that. Movement. This is another thing that he's real big on. I've seen it a million times. I'm sure you all have too. Zach, you're a kayak guy. I'm sure you've seen it. Standing up versus sitting down, that motion will spook fish. You can't be an up, down, up, down, up, down kind of thing. But that's true of all movement. A whole lot of movement at any given time is going to spook the fish, just like a whole lot of noise will. Yesterday on the boat, somebody asked me why I was playing the stereo when we cruised, and I turned it off as soon as we stopped. Did the fish hear it? And I'm like, yeah, they hear it. And I don't know if they like the Who or not. So I turn the stereo off when I get where I'm going. That hatch dropping closed. That's going to scare them. Can't have any of that. And then finally, position with the sun. In all of these scenarios we've been talking about, all of them, you've got to have the sun at your back. If you're looking into the sun, you got glare coming off the water. Of course, you got to have polarized sunglasses. I think that goes without even saying. But you also really need to have the sun like behind you, directly overhead. You know, that works sometimes, but really you want it behind you. So, and the for example I like to give on that particular point is when I'm looking for cobia and I'm sitting up top in the tower. I don't drive to where I think the fish are going to be and look around 360 degrees. I don't scan all around. I'll position the boat with the sun behind me, and then I only look in that on that one side of the boat. Might be a 45-degree window. That's all I'm looking where the visibility is best. I'm not trying to scan over here where I've got a ton of glare on my face, because there might be a fish there and I just won't ever see it, right? So I'm keeping my view in that window where the visibility is best. So whether you're on, a boat, kayak, whatever, at any given time, if you're looking into the sun or you're looking across the sun's coming this way, you're looking crosswise, that glare is just going to kill you. You got to position yourself to combat that. Woo! All right. So those are my main critical points on sight fishing here in Maryland on the Chesapeake Bay. Zach, do we have any questions? You've been pretty good about popping them up constantly as we've been going.
We do. And I'm going to make one. Oh, nope. Never mind. It's over. Too late. Yep. We do have one. Here we go.
What was that?
When do you think it'll be feasible to look for a mid-bay flounder?
Yesterday. So I have not heard of any mid-bay flounder as of yet. I do not know anybody who's gone looking for them. I haven't gone looking for them. Back in the day when we had good flounder fishing in the Middle Bay, I would catch them at the end of April. End of April was when they first started showing up. It was very tough. There were very few. They were big. It was normally like 22-inch plus fish. By mid-May, you could really go looking for them. And by June, they were kind of in full swing. I would not be shocked at all if somebody sent in a report of one tomorrow. Now, that said, they seem to be kind of held back, just like the other southern fish from the Middle Bay so far. Like I say, I haven't been getting the reports. The coast has had a really good run this year. They haven't come up. So hopefully it'll happen anytime, but it is not too early. It is feasible to go out today, tomorrow, yesterday. I haven't had the right conditions for it yet when I've been out. Honestly, it seems like every time I get to go out this year, it's blowing like 18 to 20 knots, or it's pouring rain. Those are like my two choices. I think I've had like one nice pretty day this spring. And I guess I was off chasing drum or something. I never looked for them, but Carl, now's a good time. I would go looking for them tomorrow. Really.
They've been pretty hot over on the coast. So
the coast has been good. It really has.
I caught some keepers in Ocean City, and that was about a month ago. But they went for the gulp. They didn't want the minnow and the squid, which is it's always good to have the smorgasbord for them,
Yep, we got a really cool report this week from an angler fishing on Chesapeake who caught two surf flounder, and he was very excited because he was like dying to get a surf flounder. He did. He got a couple of them. So. But yeah, up and down the coast, it has been good. And we've been getting reports from them down at the CBBT. Haven't heard of any at Smith Point yet. Last year, there was a good run at Smith Point early on. I think it was the first week of June. I might be wrong. Don't hold me to that. You can go back in the reports and look. All our reports going back years and years are on the website. So, Sefford saying Kobe making an early run this year. They are. They have been. Unlike these other species we've been talking about, they have already made their presence known. Excuse me, as far north as Maryland waters. So hopefully that'll be a good run. It'd be nice to get a really strong Kobe run this year. And Carl saying he picked up a flounder on the beach drum fishing on March 31. Wow. Dang, that's cool. That is cool.
We did have that early warm spike, and then it got chilly again.
Yes.
But yeah.
Yes.
All right. Well, I think that's all the questions, and now it's time for the Akuma Cat Slayer giveaway.
We're gonna have a lucky winner here in moments. How are we gonna do this, Zach? Are you gonna do the spinny wheel or do the random pop thing?
It's not as exciting as the spinny wheel because
Okay.
Yeah, I know. All right.
Oh, we're boop, 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 boop.
Here we go, everybody. Just showing the official nature of this giveaway. We're using this platform here, and we have our participants 274, and I'm going to pick a winner here. Do we need some music or something?
Drum roll, please.
Drum roll. I don't have a drum roll. There we go.
I can't see what's going on.
Okay, here we go. We got our winner, Norm Gidley. Congratulations, Norm.
Norm, congratulations. You got the Cat Slayers.
I'll reach out to Norm via email, and we'll get those to you. So everyone stay tuned. I think we have some more exciting giveaways coming up soon, and thanks for everyone for participating. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, Zach. Thank you for your help.
Yeah,
thank you for your help, and thank you everybody for tuning in.
And remember, we got those big CCA events coming up. We got the catfish raffle, catfish dinner, all kinds of cool stuff. So make sure you check those out at ccmd.org. And yeah, just register for that great Chesapeake invasive count. In the event that you catch one, be sure to record it, and you might win a cooler or toolkit or some cool toadfish stuff, sunglasses, all kinds of cool stuff. So I was pretty stoked when I won. So yeah.
Me too.
All right. Congrats, Norm. See, everyone's happy for you.
All right.
All right, everyone. We'll see you next month. I think it's July 3rd. We'll email you.
Yeah, I'll see you next month or tomorrow if you go to the Stone Rock.
Take care, everybody.